Welcome to Arizona, 15 minutes south of the southern rim of Grand Canyon. So I am north of Williams, Arizona, south of Grand Canyon, just south of Tucson. So I'm probably about 45 minutes from Williams, which is south of me, and 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes south of what did I say? I'm 50 minutes north of Williams and 15 minutes south of Tucson. And where am I? The forest. I'm off of a Forest Service road, boondocking. You can see some solar. You can see my trailer is set up, and I have trailered the car. So I have about a bajillion things to talk about. I'm going to experiment with trying to figure out a way to get all of this video content to you in an organized fashion that doesn't end up in an hour-long video that nobody wants to watch. So stay tuned. We're going to be talking about all kinds of fun things. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to try and make the videos to stay on point. Get the topic of the videos right and the descriptions of the videos right so you can watch what you want to watch. As always, feel free to ask questions, especially I'm imagining I'll get a lot of questions with respect to boondocking in the new air in an all-electric RV. It's my first time doing it, so I'm learning my way through it. I've been here for a week now, and I'm going to keep on going, so stay tuned. Towing a Tesla Model 3 in this case behind an RV. So in a previous video you saw that I had gotten the Tesla, that I got the Aluma 8216 tilt trailer, and at that time I did not have the E-Track installed. I didn't have a way to actually tow the car. I now do have a way to do that, obviously. I have switched locations. So you can see I've left the trailer attached in this situation. I've simply driven the car off the trailer and left it in this position. So because of the quarantine, I had to buy and install my own E-Track, which was a giant pain. It's a lot of drilling to do on both sides and line it up underneath the rails underneath, and then get the bolts and everything done all by myself. And I had 2-3 days to do that, and I was quite sore after that. That's for sure. But I saved so much money by doing that. They had quoted me at the trailer place. I don't remember the numbers anymore, but I saved probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $750 doing it by myself. So I will provide links at the bottom of the video for the E-Track. I got actually all the hardware I did not get from a local hardware store. I ordered that on Amazon too. I was surprisingly having a hard time finding the right bolts and washers that were the correct material to avoid corrosion, since we've got aluminum and steel and whatnot. So when you mate two different metals together, you got to pay attention to what you're doing. Got my straps, E-Track straps, so all that stuff I ordered and put together myself. So before you install E-Track, make sure you're placing the car on the trailer and putting the proper amount of pin weight with the correct amount of level situation on the trailer. So the height of the pin has to be correct, the weight on the pin has to be correct, and in order to get that weight correct, the car has to be in a certain position on the trailer, which is a little interesting on the Tesla. The Tesla is so perfectly even with its weight. I actually had to drive the car fairly far forward to get the enough weight, the minimum amount of weight on the pin, and I really should have done that first in order to figure out where to put the E-Track. And I really lucked out. The car has to come so far forward that I have to start the E-Track connection here. And I lucked out again because when the E-Track, it comes around the tire, I'll have a separate video of the setup, like a time-lapse setup, so you'll see it. And it comes around the tire, hooks up again, and then comes out here for the ratchet setup. And so this gives me a lot of room here to do the ratcheting, which if the car had to be parked further back this way, I wouldn't have had enough room to do the ratcheting. And what I had bought requires the ratchet to be hooked in with E-Track, as opposed to what I had originally wanted to do, which was hook in here. And doing it that way would give you certainly plenty of room, but since this works out, I'm not going to bother changing out my straps in order to hook up here. But I lucked out with respect to where the wheel comes here, having enough ratchet room here, and the same situation sort of inverted where the ratcheting happens at that end, so outside the frame of the car, which is certainly easier. Doing it here, I just have to be careful that I'm not hitting the car itself, but there is enough room to do it. The ratchet makes pretty wide swings, and it has to be able to come 180 degrees in order for you to both ratchet the wheel down as well as to release the ratchet. So got really lucky with that. And as I'm making this video, it's always something, isn't it? Something's leaking. I got some hydraulic leak, it looks like here, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. It's all under warranty, but getting this somewhere will be interesting. I don't have the ability to legally tow the trailer behind the Tesla. I do have a hitch installed, and I can move the pin to the Tesla, and I can hook up the trailer to the Tesla, and I use that to move it around like inside the campground, but I can't legally tow it because I don't have the wiring connections for the lights and brakes and that sort of thing. So we'll have to figure that situation out. It's really quite unfortunate. That it probably explains why the bed moves poorly now when I stand on the bed. Let's do that. I think it's still open. Right, that's way too fast. It should not do that. And when I lock this into place, so what you can do is you can use this to change how fast it goes. Oh yeah, I can hear something spitting. Yep, it's spitting. That actually gives me, that's actually good that I did this on video. I wouldn't have. Now I know where to check. Might just be, yeah, look at that, it's coming out, and I'll have to find a way to refill this system. So, well, that's always something, right? Like I said, right? But other than that, the last comment I want to make too is the towing situation with this. I'm actually preferring the way it drives better. I certainly have more weight, and it's certainly slower. I have like 1,000 pounds. Okay, well, I'm still spitting. I have 1,000 pounds more weight behind me than I did before. Way too fast. That should take a lot longer with just my body weight. You can imagine how fast it is with the car. Because of this trailer setup, I've got electric brakes, which respond immediately to the brake pedal, and I've got more weight on the back, and the tires are back here as opposed to the Jeep being in a couple locations. It has actually made for a smoother ride. I feel less sway when a semi drives by me, and more importantly, when I'm braking, I feel a lot more confident now. I don't feel. I guess I feel more confident is really the way to think about it, because I've got a lot more braking power happening here than I did before, and it happens whenever I brake, as opposed to the Jeep RVI Brake 3 setup that I had would brake if it felt enough deceleration, which often would require a fair amount of deceleration before it kicked in. So I'm really happy with the way this rides. The electric brakes, not surge brakes. It's one of the reasons I selected electric brakes over surge brakes, where the surge brakes just detect, and then they're kind of mechanical, and if there's enough force difference between the pin and the trailer, then mechanically that causes the brakes to engage. But this, I had done a lot of reading on that, and the electric brake setup provides for better control and all that happy stuff. So, all right, I think that's it for the trailer. As always, feel free to ask questions, and Now we're off to the next topic in another video.